بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين. Jazakumullah khairan for everyone who joined the call. This is, I think, the sixth meeting that we're having. We're working on the project Bunyaan, as all of you are aware, those of you who have been following the videos. We have Brother Ahmed and Brother Abu Bakr here, and Brother Umair should join us shortly, inshallah. So for today's call, Brother Ahmed, do you have anything to start with? Or Brother Abu Bakr, do you guys have anything to start with? If you would like, I can go over the demo of what we have. I think like most of the functionality is complete right now. So if you guys want, I can just go over it and show you the demo, and then we can open the floor. Or if you guys have anything to start with, to say, you can go ahead and start, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, if you don't mind, just a couple general meeting items I'd like to go over real quick before getting into the meat of it.
Sure.
Inshallah. So just wanted to review previous actions from the last meeting. I checked, I didn't see Brother Abu Bakr in the members list for the Al-Kalam Institute on the Git. But I also didn't happen to see Brother Hamid. And so I just wanted to double check with you on those.
So Brother Abu Bakr, he said he didn't have a personal GitHub account. He said he was going to create one and send me the email, but I believe I did not get it. I'm not sure if he had Brother Abu Bakr, did you get a chance to create that email or that account by any chance?
Yeah, I'll send it at the end of this meeting.
Okay, inshallah. So that's and regarding Brother Hamid.
Brother Hamid, yeah, I thought you showed me.
Yeah, I think he's already actually. Let me double check. Yeah, he's on here. Obviously he's in. It says manage access. Yeah. Do I need to do anything? Yeah, I didn't do anything extra for anyone else. So where do you check? Do you go under collaborators and teams, or where do you check? Can you share your screen?
Yeah, let me share my screen. There's not too much of a lag.
No, it's fine. It's all good. Oh, you mean lag in your connection?
Yeah. Okay. So there were two places where I checked. The first was just within the issue itself, where you can assign it to a member, and I wasn't seeing him there. So I just came to the main organization homepage, and at least when I look at people, I only seem to see you and Brother Umair and Brother actually myself only. So I don't know, maybe if that only shows the top three, or.
Interesting. Let me see if there's anything. I wonder. I wonder if like there's a setting on Brother Hamid's side where he doesn't allow everyone to see his profile. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if that's possible in GitHub.
So at least on here within the issue, actually for now I do see all of us minus Brother, unless this isn't Brother Hamid. Okay, then it's me not seeing what not reading things correctly. Interesting. So I can see them as an assignee.
Yeah.
Under the issue. I don't know why I wasn't seeing it before.
Maybe yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe they need to like commit a pull request or like create a branch or something. Maybe
Mm.
that's the maybe that's that's how you'd see them, but I'm not sure yet. I'll double check to see if there's anything else I need to do. But I see him on the list on my side.
Yeah, no, no, no. I went back into the issue and I see him there now. So yeah, I don't know why I wasn't seeing him before. Um,
Okay.
so inshallah, Allah sign. Inshallah, I'll sign this to him. Then yeah, Brother Abu Bakr will add in afterwards.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
And then yeah, those are the only three things I kind of wanted to review before. Yeah, like you're wanting to get into um, open issues and then any code updates, reviewing those things that have what's happened over the last week.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, we can go over that.
Okay.
Yes. So we basically what we did, what let's see. So I'll give the updates on my side, and then brother Abdul Wahid, he's traveling, so he won't be able to join to give us an update on the database. And then I'll open the floor to brother Umair to see if he has any updates regarding the front end design. But as far as the work that I did within the last week and also the previous week, let me actually share my screen. So let's see. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah. So projects. Someone's trying to join, brother Hamid. So if you go to projects and then done. So basically, I was able to complete the blockchain functionality, the actual blockchain smart contracts and the transactions and the broadcasting of the blocks and the broadcasting of the transactions. So that is complete, and that's why I went ahead and marked it as done. Yeah, so completed the blockchain functionality, incorporate broadcast of pending transactions, incorporate function to pay towards down payment. And this one may need to be rewarded. Inshallah, we will talk about the rewarding of this task. To distribute, this should be rent. So basically, this shouldn't be down payment. This should be rent. And then incorporate function to deduct from loan. So this is all done, and even much more. Some things that are not even that are not included in here. So that's why I wanted to just give you guys a quick demo of how everything looks like right now. Um, so basically, I'm currently running 3 nodes, right? Um, the demo basically will in the demo will show how to create a smart contract, how to become a partner, and then how to pay rent once the title. We're going to assume that the title is transferred after all the loan is collected. It will assume that the house is bought and the title is transferred using the loan that was collected. So that's an assumption in the demo. And then we'll also show you guys the my wallet section and how the balance changes. Every user, so just for simplicity, each node has one user on it. I know that's not like in the real world, it's not as simple as this, but just to show the use cases, we'll assume that each node has one user connected through it, and basically, so we have three users in total, and each user has $1,000 in their wallet to begin with, right? So
So I
let's
have a question, brother. What does it mean that a user being connected to a node?
So again, like I said, this is a very simple. This obviously, and then the real world, this is not how it works. But what I mean is, uh, each node, um, like in the real world, you would have the blockchain, and then you'll have the apps on top of it, and the users would be connected. Basically, would get their wallet address, through the things that we mentioned in the previous call, right? So for the case of simplicity, what I guess we can reward it differently. We can word it differently. So we have three users, that are assumed that they're logged in and they have their wallet address and they're connected to the blockchain, right? Just assume, you can assume that for the time being, because you
Okay.
don't have the front end functionality of logging in and assigning wallet addresses right now, right? Um, so basically you can assume that we have three users that are on the blockchain, right? And each of these tabs is one of the users, like on their own computer, doing basically whatever they have to do to interact with the Bunyan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because
Yep.
like anytime the user is on the blockchain, like they're on the entire blockchain, not like a
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it is. But the way we have right now, the way, just to show you guys, um, uh, you right now, like, the user that's on this, that is on this tab, is actually using the wallet address of the node. So that's why, I'm kind of confusing you. That's why I don't want to go into details regarding as to how I'm demoing this. But then the real world, the users would be logging in, right? And then they would get a wallet address, and then they would be connected to the blockchain. Basically how that's implemented, it could be different from app to app. But that's for simplicity. Imagine that each of these tabs is one user, right? So let's go ahead and go to start the smart contract. So user one goes and starts a smart contract here. 232 what street? Bunyan Street, right? And then the price is, let's say the price of the house is $1,000. The down payment is, so this user has $400 to pay, and then the seller is, uh, let's see, right? Begin contract. So now if you go to pending transactions, we'll have a transaction here, and this node, again, this is why I was making the distinction. This node, which is basically the pending transactions for this node as well, are, or how could I phrase this? So not only is this a user logged in, but in our demo, you can treat this as a node as well. So if you want to know whether this node has all the pending transactions, you'll just go to the pending transactions, right? Because a user will not see the pending transactions. A user will only see the my wallet and the musharaka investments, right? The pending transactions and the this part of it, and the blocks part of it. This is all, it's internal to the node itself, so the user doesn't necessarily need to see those, right? But for simplicity's sake, and for the sake of the demo, both of these are combined in our front end right now. So node 2 sees the transaction, and and the node 3 also sees the transaction, right? Because the transaction was broadcasted to the pool of pending transactions. So every node sees the transaction right now. Any of these nodes can go ahead and mine the transaction, not necessarily the node through basically the user, the node or the / user that created the smart contract. So let's say this this node goes ahead and pens or mines the transaction. Once it does that, we have 2 blocks, and this guy will no longer have any pending transactions, and this guy also will no longer have any pending transactions. So now if you go here, all the nodes will have 2 blocks, right? Now let's go back to the role of the user. So remember this user, when they created the smart contract, they put $400 down payment. So $400 was removed from their wallet. So now they have 6,000. Now, and this node, since this was the node that mined the transaction, they get a mining reward of 10 dinars. So that's why they have $10 extra. And this node, since it has been passive so far, and again, I'm saying that's why I'm going back and forth between user and node, and this may be confusing, but inshallah, from the explanation I gave at the beginning, inshallah, this makes sense. Now this user, since they haven't become a partner yet, their wallet is still the same as it was before. So if you guys remember, this user was the one who created the contract. So if we now these guys can go ahead and become investors. So $600 the loan remaining is $600, and this user decides to become a partner, and they put in 300. The loan remaining decreases to 300, and the loan granted becomes 300. Now, if you go to the pending transactions, all the nodes will have this pending transaction, the transaction of becoming a partner, right? Now, let's go ahead and mine the transaction. One of the nodes mines the transactions, and the block is added, and all the other nodes end up having the block in their blockchain, right? Right here, yeah. Okay, so was it this node? I believe it was this node. So if you want to know which node, which user became a partner, we go to the wallets. So it was this node that became a partner, right? It put in $300. That's why we subtracted $300 from the $1,010 that they had. And so let's say this other user also decides to become a you know, what do you call it, become partner. So they did we mine the transaction? Yes, we did. Okay. Okay, so if we go back, right, transaction four. Okay, so now the loan granted is 600, and the loan remaining is 0, right? So now if this user, who was the user who created the what do you call it, the smart contract, right? They requested this loan amount. Now at this point, this pay rent button shows up for them, because now, as I said, we're assuming that the house is bought and the title is transferred. So now they go ahead and so basically, if I click on pay rent, the rent is distributed to all the other nodes. I clicked on it twice, so I believe we'll have multiple pending transactions. Yeah, so I clicked on it twice. That's why we have multiple transactions. That's my bad. But so let's go ahead and mine these transactions. Now, if you go back to my wallet, you see that this user had $600 previously.
Mhm.
Now, after we paid rent, their wallet amount decreased. So this is basically, this is the functionality. This is how the smart contract is going to work. In a very, obviously we made a lot of assumptions, because there's going to be another, perhaps there will be another smart contract that either may either live in this blockchain or another, a third party blockchain that will actually be in charge of transferring the title of the house to the LLC. And that's a whole different conversation that we inshallah will have in a different day. But as far as the basic functionality of the Musharaka smart contract, this was it. Now, I think that's all the update that I have on my side. I'm sorry for the confusion. We will be able to make the distinction between the node and the users once we have a front end, which is once we have an application and a front end that allows users to log in and assigns wallet addresses to them. But currently, the way we have it set up is that we don't have a user login system. So the wallet address is being assigned to the user by a server that's running in the backend. So, any questions?
Mm. That the amount that I was actually paid, did you have it just how did you figure how much actually is paid? In the smart contract, did it do the math as far as how much time they need to pay this off and
Yeah.
how much this percentages would become rent?
Yeah. So the smart contract, if you go to where is it? Distribute rent. What's So what's happening here is we're getting the list of lenders, right? And then for each lender, we're calculating the percentage that they have put in, and then we multiply that percentage by the rent amount, and that becomes the amount of money that they will get. So let's say our first partner chipped in $300, right? Which was approximately approximately 1/3. So, and the rent, let's say the rent is $30. 1/3 of $30 is
It's 10.
Yeah, it's 10,
But
and then that's
okay, but I guess I was actually wondering about the rent. How did you say that's 30? Or is that
the
something
rent
that's
is,
still being worked on?
yeah, so the rent itself is going to be determined from the available APIs that are out there that determine a fair rent price, like tell you a fair rent price for a particular property. I think Zillow has one of those APIs. I think Brother Umair shared the API with us once from Zillow, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, so Zillow does have API for rent estimates, but to be honest, their rent estimates are sometimes off and not representative of the properties. That's why there's a process for rent appraisals that
Mhm.
companies do. Like Amin Housing has its own rent appraisal, and
Mhm.
guidance goes based on a different thing. But I
Mhm.
think those all fall under the things that would have to happen in the physical world and be agreed upon, and then be brought onto the blockchain.
Mhm. Yeah, so that goes back to what you'll be researching with Propi or Amin Housing, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. But for the time being, to answer your question, brother Ahmed, I have hard coded the rent price, but
Yeah.
and like once the final solution, we'll
Hmm.
have what brother Umair mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for the means of demoing. Yeah, you could just have it hard coded in like that.
Yeah. Um,
Um, but that's another functionality that'll get added in or has to be incorporated somehow.
yes, exactly. And also, so I think this is a good point, brother Ahmed. Before I hand it off to you for your updates, I think this is a good point to talk about, or where we go from here. As far as the proof of concept, I think we obviously we haven't built out the front end and all of that, but we wanted, we thought that I think this is a good point to decide how we'll proceed forward. What I mean by that is we have two options. We have the option of continuing to work on the current solution that we have, which may be unrealistic, and I'll explain to you why. And build out a complete front end based on the solution, based on the blockchain that we have in Python, and then move forward, until we have the complete solution, right? And that's going to involve a lot of work because for our blockchain to be taken seriously, it needs to pass so many uh, you know um, tests, so to speak, security tests. And then I think like the blockchain community has this certification where you become, certified, and you become accredited, or like you become legit, basically. And what that involves, I think it involves a lot. It would require us to have a blockchain expert to complete the solution. So that's one path, right? The other path is to which we briefly discussed, in our WhatsApp channel. Not briefly, actually, we discussed it for a couple of weeks, which was to use an existing blockchain that is Sharia compliant. Um, and basically, for example, Ethereum has smart contracts, right? And basically writing our Musharaka smart contract, which we have, incorporated into the Python blockchain, writing it on, something like Ethereum. I'm not, Ethereum may not necessarily be like the most compliant blockchain, uh, but just for an example, and just as an example, I'm saying. So, yes, and then that has its own challenges. One of the challenges of going that route is, not being in control of everything that the blockchain decides or does. Some of those, processes, or some the technology, some of the things that the blockchains out there that are using may not be necessarily Sharia compliant, may have a component of interest, or something, any like, something else that's not Sharia compliant. So that's the challenge, and also the other challenge with it is, let's say there is a blockchain that is Sharia compliant right now, just like in the case of Ethereum, which was working using proof of work initially, and then all of a sudden they decided to start using proof of stake, right? Which is not necessarily Sharia compliant. Then what do we do? We're stuck. We've already built our solution on that blockchain, and the owners of that blockchain, or the developers of the blockchain, decide to do something that is um, that goes totally against the principles, and the reason why we started this to begin with. So that's another challenge. So I think that I wanted to open the floor for discussion regarding that. um, yeah, Brother Omar requested that we should have guidelines as to know what is Sharia compliant and what is not. Like the different components of a blockchain that could be, n- could be haram, could be not, non impermissible. So that's an item on my side, which I need to work on. But yeah, I just wanted to see what your thoughts are on this. Uh, Brother Omar, please go ahead. Or Brother Hamid, I'm not sure that I think two people raised their hands. Or Brother Hamid, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Brother Umair raised his hand first, so I'm going to let him go first, inshallah.
Brother. Uh, so yeah, what I wanted to say is, firstly, Jazakallah khair, Brother Suhail. Like, you've done an amazing amount of work, and gotten to this point where, like, the blockchain itself is very realistic and doing a lot of these things and smart contracts and all that. So Jazakallah khair. Uh, on the and on the floor that you opened for option 1 or 2, option 1 being building our own blockchain and the challenges that you mentioned, and option 2 using an existing blockchain and those challenges you mentioned. I just wanted to add one thing for option 2 and some of the challenges that you mentioned.
Yes.
Part of, like, after identifying a blockchain that is Sharia compliant, let's just say we find a Sharia compliant blockchain, the challenge that it might change to something that's not Sharia compliant in the future is is fairly low and mitigatable. How? Because even Ethereum has been talking about switching to proof of stake from proof of work and for 4 years now. So it's not a sudden change. It's the whole community needs to go through the approval, and some code changes, or like some changes like changing the entire proof of work, or sorry, the entire mechanism for consensus is a big change. So that's why, like, it took like 4 years for them to upgrade the network, right? But in established blockchains, it's the bigger changes like these are in not in number of months, they're in number of years. So that gives us a fair amount of time to switch over to other blockchains in the meanwhile. That is, like, if you want, like, and then the other thing is, all these ecosystems, like most of the blockchains now, either use Solidity as their programming language for smart contracts, or run EVMs, which means, like, blockchain to blockchain, your projects are compatible. Literally, it's like you switch from one network to the other without having to make any changes in your dApp, right? So that's the other thing. Like, if, for example, just a random example, we were supposed to using Ethereum, and now we know, like, in 2 years from now they're going to be changing to proof of stake, which is not halal. We have that 2 years to migrate over. And that also, the other thing I want to say is, anytime these changes happen, you can always fork the blockchain, because it is all open source. And that's why you would see, like, Ethereum Cash, Ethereum proof of work, actually even Ethereum proof of work as a stake, sorry, as a separate fork exists. They're separated, but they exist as forks. And even it's in the top 100. So that part of it, like, where things change, one, you can be part of the community and you propose things, and but even if that were to happen, you have some time to migrate, and you can either migrate to other blockchains which are still Sharia compliant, and it's literally not much effort to switch over to those, or you can fork the existing one and just remain on that blockchain. So yes, that's what I wanted to add it on.
I think that yeah, no, I think those are very good points to keep in mind, and they're rather valid good points as well. The only thing I would add to that is the the dynamic nature of the blockchain community. It's changing so rapidly. With I think initially there were only a few proof of work mechanisms, and there are so many right now. So yeah, I definitely see your point, and I to be honest with you, I personally also lean towards the second solution of finding an existing blockchain and working on it. But I don't think we should downplay the risk of the blockchain developers deciding to add something to their blockchain that is Sharia compliant now, that will not necessarily be Sharia, will not be Sharia compliant after they make those changes. And with regarding the forking, if we go ahead and fork basically the fork their compliant version of the blockchain, then we will miss out on all their updates and all their security patches and everything. So we'll become in charge of to a certain extent to in charge of some of the updates that will be required for that fork. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's the part that we can't just like be oblivious to the fact that something might change.
Mhm.
Though on that note, even if we were to build our own blockchain, we need to constantly be like aware of the security updates.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even did start with the blockchain today, and what you said, like that mentality should be there in our group, that we need to like learn the blockchain, not just be always be dependent, contribute to the blockchain, uh,
Mhm.
so that we know like what updates are going on, and say comes a time that we need to fork, we can maintain the blockchain just
Mhm.
like we would be maintaining our own blockchain. Like let's just say we started from scratch, or it would eventually get just as complex to be effective, right? Like in terms of security, and we would be maintaining that. So it's like at that level, I would say the effort would be similar.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I think this. I think this. Yeah, these are very valid points that we're discussing. Um, Brother Hamid, did you ha- have anything to say?
Yeah, I actually had like few questions that were probably answered when you guys were discussing this. So my first question was, how hard would it be to, implement, let's say, if they were to implement non-Sharia compliant, add more stuff like non-compliant, how hard would it be to actually, just weed that out? Let's say if you're going with the second option, right?
Mhm.
And then the other question that I had was obviously the security. So basically, the second option will allow us to have, like more robust, I think, all the security patches and whatnot as part of the code. Like the security part of the blockchain will be taken care in the existing uh, code. Uh, and that's why, I think option two will be more viable.
Yeah, yeah. I think as option two is more realistic. Just considering our level of experience when it comes to blockchain, right? And our
So my,
experience.
my other question is, sorry to interrupt. My other question, let's say, like you were saying, if they were to, in the future, implement the non-Sharia compliant, I don't know, there was a term you said. Uh, so let's say in that case, would even if we fork, right? Uh, how do we just stay there, or let's say if they roll security patches and whatnot in the latest code with a non-Sharia compliant, would it bring that independently to this forked uh, code that's the Sharia compliant? Did you understand my question?
Yeah, so you're asking whether, if, for example, if they have security patches in the main branch,
Yeah,
will those security patches be automatically added to our fork? I don't think they'll be automatically added.
not automatically, but would it be how hard would it be to, like, just bring that
Yes,
stuff and make sure the
so it
code
all
still
depends.
works?
Yeah, I think it all depends on like where those patches are. Are they on the like, are they on the legacy code that hasn't been changed? In which case, I think we can easily integrate them. Or are they like a combination of across the whole code base? In which case, I think it'll be much more difficult. Brother Ahmed, if you have any comments, or anyone else on this matter, but I think it depends on the nature of the patch.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Brother Sahil said. It really depends on what those code changes are. One thing I wanna say is like again, like if we go with an established blockchain, and I'll preface this by saying like definitely the concerns for not going with option two cannot be undermined. Like the main part of like doing it, all of this is to make things Sharia compliant, right? To make it halal. So that can be overlooked.
Mm.
But what I'm saying is, in option number two, even for obviously we'll be choosing a blockchain that's Sharia compliant, and it's very popular, right? So
Mm.
in that, when the fork does happen, there is a community around it. There's
Mm.
always like they're also developing.
Yeah.
It's and that's the reason for the fork. Otherwise, there wouldn't really be a fork. There's like, so let's just say like on the Ethereum blockchain, if there's 10,000 developers, there's like 3,000 or 4,000 that are going to remain on the proof of work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I
it's not
agree.
like just us. So they are going to continue to develop and upgrade as should we be also
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, just to add another component, uh, just to add something else, I think not only are there many contributors, there are many like Muslim contributors, which basically we may be able to get assistance from, you know. Uh, so I think that's a positive as well. But again, if we go that route, we're gonna try to shift gears a little bit. Um, I think if we go that, well, we won't necessarily shift gears because I believe as far as the front end stuff, Brother Umair will still work on the use cases, because our use cases will be specific to us. So we'll have to have work on the design and the use cases. So inshallah, maybe we can divide that task, which you're in charge of right now, amongst a few of us, since that's all we're gonna be essentially doing for the for the app part of it. Um,
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I agree. Like, regardless of the underlying blockchain we use, our Musharika part, and the smart contract and the DApp does not change, and that's the Bunyan use case, and then the underlying blockchain is, or I don't know, Brother Sahel, are we calling the blockchain that we were gonna build Bunyan, or the DApp that's gonna be sitting on top?
yeah, I think it all depends on which route we go to. We choose. If we choose route two, it'll only be like the smart contract that we're gonna add to the network, in combination with the app that we were building. If we go, obviously, I don't think we will at this point. If we decide to go with option one, then not only the app but also the whole blockchain will be called Bunyan. Um, it depends.
I see. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. So on that note, I think the smart contract and the front end is going to be the same regardless of option one and two.
Mhm.
So I think we can split that task, but I think that task also grew based on the discussion that we had last time in terms of liquidity and liquidity
Mm.
cap and providing liquidity swap, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
I think once those get updated, we'll probably have more UI items, and then
Yeah.
also along with whatever comes out with the research with Propi, that front end also is going to be incorporated.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, inshallah, that's a good. Inshallah, there are a few changes that are gonna be made to the white paper. Brother Umair and I had a quick call regarding some things that came up, uh, and those, some of those topics were like liquidity, fund. What was it? Fund matching, and the other one, how basically how liquidity will work. Is there a cap? Are we gonna allow users to put a cap on it? I'll put all of that in our white paper, and then inshallah I'll share it with everyone. And we can so you have a better idea of what we mean by that. But that's like that's more like of a long-term task that we'll need to, yeah, like a future task that we'll need to accomplish. For the time being, I feel like what we should do is we should have all hands on deck for determining what blockchain we should use. um, so, and what that will require us is to be able to determine what are the components of a blockchain that could be non-Sharia compliant, that could be impermissible, right? If one of those components is, the proof of the consensus mechanism, but there could be other components that we are not aware of. So I guess this is something that we all can do, to be honest, is do a bit of research. And Brother Ahmed, you have your own research with property, so this doesn't apply to you. Do a bit of research regarding what components of a blockchain system could potentially be non-Sharia compliant, right? And that doesn't necessarily require any pre knowledge of blockchain. Just like read some articles, Islamic, Muslim, written by Muslim scholars, or talking about these subjects. And obviously, I'll take this upon myself as well. I'll do this from not necessarily from what others have written, but from my own understanding of blockchain, and I'll share my findings with you. But in the meanwhile, you guys can participate in this as well by googling this and searching to see what components of a blockchain could be impermissible. Brother Ahmed, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, in terms of the next tasks at hand, like you mentioned, would be to figure out what blockchain to use. But I think it would be best, like, if you start with a framework of what blockchains, uh, like what components would make a blockchain halal or not. So you could do that, brother Sahib. And the rest of what we can do is like actually look at blockchains and learn how they work. So once that framework comes in, then we just figure out which ones are good and not. And what I can do is like I can share some blockchains that are good and or have performed really well in the past for different use cases. And from what I know, that like based on just the proof of sorry, the consensus mechanism that you had shared, that these are halal, I can share along, and the brothers can just get to know those blockchains. And, I think that would be a good exercise.
Yeah, I think that would be a good exercise, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Brother Ahmed, I know you have to leave. Did you have any concluding thoughts that you want to share?
No, and we can discuss it more over the week. Just with respect to the more targeted rollout at the end of January, some sort, if there are any resources or venues, whether in person or online, that where we can reach out to like Muslim professionals in these areas or community members who are interested in furthering these efforts.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm not sure if you guys were aware that Sheikh Ma'an came to ICSD. He's one of the shuyukh that is highly involved in the Islamic finance sector. Like he basically he's the advisor for many of the Islamic financial institutions. So he was an ICSD, and I spoke to him, and I apologize, it just slipped my mind. That was something I wanted to mention, but I forgot. He was an ICSD, and he was giving a talk. So I actually approached him and I told him that we have a project like this, and he mentioned that basically he said he needs to read the white paper to be able to comment and to say anything about it. So that's why I was going to work on the white paper, inshallah, as well, simultaneously. But that's one thing I have done, and please, like, feel free if you guys know of any shuyukh and like, or any community leaders that basically that are concerned about the financial well-being, or the halal nature of our financial transactions. Feel free to share this idea with them, and see what they say. um, as far as doing something in one of the masajid, to be honest with you, I have not reached out to to most of the masajid. I did have a brief discussion with one of the masajid, and I still haven't heard back. But as far as the end of January, I think I could reach out to some of the masajid and request that we have a brief talk, and whoever's interested can come and listen. I think that's something doable. But who can join us? I mean, I know Brother Omar is all the way in the Bay Area. Who can join us for that meeting? Can anyone participate and be there, like, when we give that presentation?
Yeah, no, inshallah, I should be able to. I don't plan to be out of town at the end of January.
Okay. How about Brother Abu Bakr or Brother Hamid?
I'm able to as well. A quick question about that. Do you only want like personable connections? Because there's some online forums that have Muslim developers. Do you want to also share this project over there?
Actually, I did reach out to some online forums like Reddit, but there wasn't much. Like, a lot of people like the idea, but I did mention that this is open source, and basically we're not doing this for money. So I think that may have been the reason why not many people decided to help you know reach out and offer their expertise. But that is something I have done, and you can do it as well. Feel free if you're a part of any forums to to mention this. But I guess, I mean, at this point, uh, at this point, we may not need to necessarily do any further outreach when it comes to, like, online forums. um, because I feel like if we're gonna change gears and go the blockchain route, like, go take the route of use an existing blockchain, I think we need to sort that part out first, decide what we're gonna do, or what blockchain we're gonna use first, before we can before we ask for more volunteers to start working on this.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So we can narrow down exactly like who has experience in this specific blockchain when we do reach out. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Brother Ahmed, please feel free to share. Or Brother Hamid, did you have anything to say?
I know a guy. I don't know if you saw the channel called Practical Islamic Finance. So we can also share, the white paper and whatnot to him, because he's also an Islamic finance expert.
I see.
I know him. Like, I had a session with him, just to talk about my expenses in budget and whatnot. So I can probably reach out to him as well. I mean, but he's just on the finance side.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, send me if he has any videos or anything, like, you can send them to me, and then we can discuss inshallah after the call.
Yeah, I'm gonna just send his channel. So this is his channel, but I can I think I have his email. I can reach out to him.
Okay, inshallah, sounds good. And also, please keep one thing I want us to keep in mind is we want to We want to target the lowest common denominator. Like we want to cover or yeah, we want to target or cover the lowest common denominator. What I mean by that is, you know how there are so many different opinions out there of what is halal, what is haram, you know, what's interest, what's not interest. First of all, we take a very orthodox position. We want to take a very orthodox position that everyone feels good about, right? We don't want to take a very minority opinion and only have maybe if Allah Azza wa Jal gives us the tawfiq and people start using this solution, and only have 10% or a very small percentage of Muslims using it because we only targeted a minority opinion. Does that make sense? Or we were very lenient as regarding what we call halal and what we call haram. So I think it's something I want everyone to be keep in mind when reaching out to shuyukh, and in particular, we do take that orthodox position, and we take the stricter, like we're more on the strict side when it comes to this, because we want all Muslims to benefit from this, not only a small percentage that follows a very a minority opinion of some scholars. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. I'll be
I have one last question. So I know we talked about this task. You know, if you want me to work on this, the wallet, right? You told me on Slack. So should I still work on it, or should I just wait until
I think if you want, you can still work on it just to get you know, get comfortable if you want, because you know a lot of you know, small doing small tasks or fixing small bugs like this empower a person to do, like, to tackle bigger challenges. But if you you know, if you don't do this, it'll be very hard for you to do other bigger to do bigger things. So I think it's all up to you. We, like I said, we'll probably move away from this, even though I don't think it would be a good idea to totally abandon it, because this is our backup, right? If everything, if all else fails, this is what we're gonna fall back to. But it's most likely that we're gonna move away from this.
Okay. All right. And also one other question on the front end side of things, right? So let's say if we are implementing a new front end, did we decide on what we're going to use, the technology?
I think for the front end, I feel like React is the best solution, because not only does it give you a framework, but it also gives you a lot of room for customization, and it leaves a lot of things up to the developer, as compared to Angular. Angular is a bit more strict, and it does everything the way it wants. It's kind of like the difference between Flask and Django, right? Flask, it's less, but it gives you more freedom. Django is more, but you know, it does things the way it wants, and it's hard to do things differently. So that's why I think like React would be as far. I mean, obviously, we're gonna take a vote on this. You know, my opinion is just one out of the many, but I know Brother Umair will take care of the iOS portion of it, and I'll also try to contribute to the Android part of it. But as far as the web application, I think React would be the best solution.
Okay, and then all of us would do that front end, or like.
Yeah, so basically that'll have many. I think once we start talking about that, I think it'll have many components and many use cases, and we'll inshallah we'll try to divide the task when once we get there. But at this point, we still haven't, you know, written all the use cases and everything that's required.
Okay, and Brother Sal, are you gonna do more any more changes on this for any other, are you going to work on any of the functionality?
As far as the current blockchain,
Yeah.
only if we find any bugs.
Okay. Okay.
But like as far as adding more to it, I don't think we need to add more to it at this point. The
Yeah.
core functionality is all there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Those are
No,
all my questions. Yeah.
no problem. Anytime. Brother Ahmed, did you want to share your findings regarding LLC, or do you want to keep it for another meeting?
I think it's pretty lengthy, like rules and regulations they have. It's pretty in depth. I think what I can do is share that on the group, and everybody can just review it for just good understanding. But we can summarize that and put some of it in the white paper as well.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Jazakallah khairan for doing that, Brother Ahmed.
Inshallah. And then the next step would for me would be to reach out to Propi and see what they have to offer and what they're doing.
Inshallah. Sounds good. Jazakallah khairan. Allah reward everyone. Brother Abu Bakr, I know you wanted to I'm not sure if you were able to do any of the things that we agreed for you to take a tackle last week. I think one of those was the interaction between the blockchain and the real world. But it seems like we already kind of had that in the white paper. We just didn't know the extent of what Propi was capable of doing. So that's why Brother Umair pointed out that actually Propi, which was in the white paper, does most of the things that we asked you to investigate. So he's gonna go ahead and talk to them. But something else that you said you'll be able to help out with was marketing, and with having different accounts and so forth, Instagram, YouTube, and all of that. So I'm not sure if how familiar you are with that, or if that's still something you want to do.
Yeah, definitely. Because right now, since you said like we're not like the core functionalities are already made, so I can start working on the marketing as well as if you want, I can keep researching on the interaction between the real world. Or if you said like most of it, if it's already done by the blockchain, I'm not sure if there's anything else.
Okay, sounds good. So inshallah, regarding the marketing part of it, inshallah, you and I can have what we mean by marketing here is not like marketing our product to sell it, but just marketing or advertising the idea, the goal or the mission of Bunyaan, which is much greater than just a blockchain, which is basically to foster or to develop this mentality of getting together as Muslim developers and providing solutions. I think this is like a umbrella, like the main goal behind Bunyaan, and obviously through Bunyaan, inshallah, we're trying to prove that this is possible, and this can help many people. So yeah, so inshallah we'll talk more about that after this call, Brother Abu Bakr.
Okay,
Inshallah. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan for everyone who took time away from their family to join this call. May Allah reward you.
آمين. الله.
جزاك الله خير. السلام
آمين.
عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.